4.3 billion people live across this vast continent called Asia, and we are telling their stories. On this edition, the story of Pakistan's glass bangle makers and their struggle to make a living. Oiled up and ready for battle. Turkish oil wrestlers fight it out to maintain a centuries-old tradition. And cockpits of chance. Why cockfighting aficionados in the Philippines are willing to risk everything, even their hard-earned money. I'm Daniel Khan, and this is Assignment Asia. Welcome to the show. On this episode, we explore some Asian traditions and the people who keep them alive. Here in Pakistan and other parts of South Asia, it is a custom for women to wear bangles, but little is known about the painstaking work that goes into manufacturing them. I traveled to Hyderabad to meet the city's glass bangle workers, the men, women and children who labor hard to create the traditional ornament, but who can barely make their own lives better. Since long, bangles have been an important ornament of women in many parts of the world, particularly in the subcontinent. In the South Asian region, women of almost every age like wearing bangles. The ancient city of Hyderabad lies in the southeast of Pakistan, and it is the only city in Pakistan where glass bangles are being manufactured. Hyderabad is known as the city of bangles. The mild climate, even during peak summertime, is the reason that it's the hub of the distinctive bracelets. The craftsmen are highly skilled and trained in this region, especially in this art form. Following the partition of the subcontinent in 1947, immigrants from India belonging to the bangle industry settled in Hyderabad and established a small-scale bangle manufacturing industry.
इसमें ये थर्ड जनरेशन है जो इस वक्त मैं हूँ आपके सामने.
I'm the third generation in bangle making. My forefathers started this business in Firozabad and carried it on in India for 50 years, after which we moved to Pakistan.
50 साल के बाद ये सेपरेट हो गया.
Bangle production has been in the Siddiqui family for many generations. He says the family faced many hardships at the time because no one was interested in wearing bangles when there was barely any food to eat. But the family managed to establish the first glass bangle industry in Hyderabad, called the Indus Glass.
के अंदर क्योंकि लेबर नहीं थी तो लेबर को फिर
The biggest problem we faced was lack of labor. So we shipped our close relatives who were working in glass factories in India to Pakistan to come work with us. We had 50 quarters in the factory, so the labor came along with their families and settled here.
Now there are about 20 glass bangle manufacturing units in Hyderabad and nearly 250,000 people directly or indirectly involved in the manufacturing, trading, packing and transporting of glass bangle, making it the second largest glass bangle industry of the world. Manufacturing glass bangles is a lengthy and tough process, where the laborers are mostly exposed to extreme temperatures, and they would earn a mere $1 a day. The highest paid skilled laborer would get $5 for a day's job. The traditional art of producing bangles is flourishing in the streets of this ancient city and is being carried forward from generation to generation. But most of the laborers live below the poverty line. Their plight must be recognized to further develop the industry. Most of the work is done inside homes as cottage industries, where bangles are cut, designed and colored. Broken glass is the major raw material for the bangle industry. The glass is sorted out before it is mixed with materials ranging from silica, manganese, soda ash, and various pigments. This mixture is then put manually into a furnace fired up around 1300 degrees centigrade to melt the broken glass. Once the glass melts, it is gently wrapped to an iron rod where it gets its initial bracelet form and gets the shape of a spring. This coiled glass spring is then cut with a diamond tool that separates the spring into individual bangles. The coiled bangles are then shifted to homes where women and children would connect the broken joints on open flames. 70-year-old Rahmat Bibi has 12 children, 7 daughters and 5 sons. All her daughters work at home in joining the spiral ends of bangles.
All of us combined earn around $200 a month. If we give it more than our bodies allow, we can get up to $250 a month, which after paying gas, water and electricity bills only allows us to survive. We have health problems, but we don't get compensated for them. We have no means to see the doctors and pay their fee.
Due to power outages, an 8-hour working shift ends up being a 12 hours one. And when a day's work doesn't come, the family has no means to put food on the table. Rahmat hopes for a better future for her daughters.
I wish I had the means to educate my children. I wish they had had a better future than mine. From where I see it, everything seems bleak. Luck is rarely on a poor man's side. It's just endless hours of hard work with less than desirable compensation. This is how my life began. This is how my children's life will end, not knowing whether there'll be enough to lay out the next meal on the table.
Lubna is Rahmat Bibi's youngest daughter. She wanted to become a doctor, but their circumstances were otherwise.
I've been working in the bangle industry since I was a child. I work day and night in extreme heat with my family. We barely get to celebrate any festivals, religious or otherwise. I gave up education because my parents couldn't afford it. I may not get married because my parents can't afford it. I just hope if I ever get married, my children have a better life than me. I hope they get to study. I hope they get to eat. I hope they get to celebrate.
And for the women who would adorn their wrists with these ostentatious pieces of art, they would perhaps never know the hard work of thousands of men, women and children that goes into the creation.
Bangles add to a woman's beauty. I have bangles to match every piece of clothing I own. I'm not aware of the bangle making process, but I do know the process mostly involves fire and heat.
Bangle industry is a part of the fashion business, and with the present unstable economic situation in Pakistan, the top priority of everyone is to feed themselves and their families. Hyderabad's glass bangle industry is the world's second largest, but it is slowly declining. Factory owners hope for government support to help the industry flourish again as it did in the old times. Next on Assignment Asia, Turkey's oil wrestlers and their quest to be champions. With a history that spans more than 650 years, oil wrestling is not just Turkey's national sport. It is a tradition many Turkish people aspire to perfect through rigid training, a battle where the victors are regarded as heroes. Natalie Carney followed a family of oil wrestlers as they prepared for Turkey's biggest tournament and saw why for them it's more than just about winning.
Orada gözdağı veriyorsun. Gözdağı oluyor.
Karşılaştığımızda acaba ne gibi teknikler uygulayabilir? Acaba ne gibi oyunlar yapabilir? Güçle, kuvvetle olmuyor.
For the Chelik family, oil wrestling is a tradition that dates back 5 generations. Unlike standard wrestling, competitors are covered in olive oil. The winner either pins his opponent or lifts him above his shoulders.
Atalarımızdan bunu dedim ya, atalarımız bunu yağla şey yapmışlar. Yağın amacı tutulmamak. Yani tekniği zor uygulamak. Bir teknik uyguluyorsun ama o tekniği uyguladığın zaman kayıyor. Tutamıyorsun.
The Cheliks come from a long line of oil wrestlers. Asil is 25 years old now, but he's been training since he was 8. His father, Nihat, has been wrestling all his life and is now his son's coach, as his father was to him.
Ailemizde bizim bu yağlı güreş bir onur. Yani bizim bu Kırkpınar sahasında soy isim olarak Çelikler denildiği zaman tanınan ve şahıslarız. Yani dedemden, amcamlardan ve babamlardan geliyor. Şimdi de biz devam ettiriyoruz.
Oil wrestling has a rich history in Turkey, dating back more than 650 years, and the men competing in it are highly respected. Wrestlers, or pelivans, meaning hero or champion, are considered exemplary figures for their adherence to traditions and cultures. It is a lifestyle the entire Chelik family embraces.
Sadece biz antrenman yaparak hazırlanmıyoruz. Yani bizi ailemiz de hazırlıyor bu işe yani. Ailen arkanda olmadığı zaman bu işler olmaz zaten. Ailemiz de arkamızda bizim. Yani biz koca günümüz ailemiz bizim mutfaktan çıkmıyor. Yani bize yemek hazırlıyor. Hangi güzel yemekleri yapabiliyorum, yapayım. Hangi işte şunu yapayım, bunu yapayım. Bizim yağlı çamaşırlarımız var, banyomuz var. Yani hakikaten çok meşakkatli bir iş yani.
Each year, the northern Turkish city of Edirne comes alive to host the 3-day Kırkpınar Oil Wrestling Festival. Wrestlers from all across Turkey compete for the title of Baş Pehlivan, or head wrestler. The tournament holds a Guinness World Record for the longest-running sporting competition in the world.
About 300 oil wrestling games take place across Turkey each year, but the Kırkpınar Festival here in Edirne is the most popular. Yet for many, it's not about cashing in on the tourists that come to town this week. It's more about maintaining this centuries-old cultural tradition.
With another Kırkpınar competition only days away, Asil's father has him on a very regimented training schedule.
En az 6 günü bizim çalışmakla geçiyor. 6 günümüz çalışmakla geçiyor. Sabah ve akşam olmak üzere. Sabah koşular oluyor. Kondisyon için koşumuzu yaparız. Öğleden sonra da kısmetleri alıp çayıra çıkıp teknik üzerine yağlı güreş antrenmanlarımızı yapıyoruz.
Şey yapamıyorsun yani, gezemiyorsun istediğin gibi. Diğer işlerin gibi. Hayatın düzenli bir periyoda giriyor. Yani belli bir antrenman şeyine girdiğin zaman, metoduna girdiğin zaman uyuman, kalkman, antrenman yapman, yemek yemen, dinlenmen. Yani bunun hepsi kolluyorsun kendini resmen. Bütün her şeyden menfaat yapıyorsun yani.
The Chelik family boasts many medals and podium positions from Kırkpınar, but the family dream of becoming a Baş Pehlivan and receiving the revered golden belt now rests with Asil.
Ben baş pehlivan olamadım. Ben baş altıya kadar güreştim ama oğlumun ben Kırkpınar'da bir başa güreşmesini istiyorum yani. Bir baş pehlivanla yani aday olmasını istiyorum. Başka bir şey istemiyorum yani.
A day before the tournament begins, all their hard work is measured. Each wrestler is weighed to determine which of the 12 weight classes he will compete in. On opening day, friends, families, and hundreds of spectators show up for this historic event. Behind the scenes, more than 1,700 wrestlers get mentally and physically prepared. Asil and the 64 others in his category, small, medium, and big, are covered in oil.
Ne olsa dualı bir çayır. Bizim o çıktığımız o çayır dualı bir çayır. Daha sahaya çıkarken tabii ki sağ ayağında çıkıyorsun. Duanı okuyorsun. Yani biliyorsun biz Müslümanız. Bizim dualarımız var. Kendimize özgü dualarımız var. Bu duaları yani Rabbine yalvarıyorsun yani. Allah'ım beni buradan utandırmadan çıkar. Bana burada şampiyonluk nasip et.
A traditional band of drums and clarinets plays a traditional Ottoman repertoire to energize wrestlers and spectators alike. Dozens of matches take place at once as the audience looks on. Asil is able to pin his opponent down and wins his first match.
Şimdi 32 kişiye kaldık. Nasıl kısmet neyse onu göreceğiz. Çalıştıklarımızın hemen alacağız.
The next match lasts 2 hours, but Asil is victorious again. This time, though, he suffers a foot injury. He is rushed off the field and attended to by a nurse. He is given the night to recuperate. By day 2, Asil is back in form.
This is a very important match for Asil. It's the top 16 in his category, small, medium, and large. If he wins his match here, he then goes into the finals of the top 8.
But after another tough match, Asil gives way to his injury and misses out on the quarterfinals. This is not a loss that will deter this oil wrestling family, but as the years go on, both Nihat and his son feel the sport that has become part of their family's DNA is changing.
Eski adetlerimiz falan yani güreşi biraz şey yaptılar. Genetiğinle oynadılar. Çok kurallar koyduğunuz zaman bu güreşin şeyini bozuyorsunuz yani. Genetiğini bozuyorsunuz yani. Bizim federasyonumuz, bizim yöneten kişiler yağlı güreşi çok kurallar koyuyorlar. Yani kural koyduğun zaman bu güreşin her şeyini bozuyorsun yani. Bırak, şeyine bırak, naturalliğine bırak. Bizim atalarımız nasıl yapıyorsa biz de aynısını yapalım.
With their history in the sport, the Chelik family is one that can contribute to maintaining the essence of oil wrestling in the country.
Çok onur verici bir şey yani. Çünkü bu bizim aileden de geldiği için, dedelerimizden, dedemden de geldiği için bize karşı. Biz de bunu güzel bir şekilde layığıyla taşıdığımız için üstümüzde çok şükrediyoruz yani, başka bir şey değil.
Hani öleceğiz, hepimiz öleceğiz. Dünyaya bir daha gelsem gene bu mesleği seçerim. Pehlivan olurum yani. Başka hiçbir spor dalı seçmem.
While this year, a new Kirkpinar medal will not be added to the Chelik wall, the family, just like many other Turkish families, knows it's maintaining a centuries-old culture that truly matters. For Assignment Asia, I'm Natalie Kearney in Edirne, Turkey.
Nihat and his son Asil continue to train on an open field to prepare for the next Oil Wrestling Championship, hoping to emerge victorious and add another medal to their wall. Coming up, cockfighting in the Philippines and the stakes that bettors face. Animal rights advocates condemn the blood sport, and many bettors lose fortunes to it. Yet cockfighting in the Philippines has endured for centuries, with rich and poor people alike placing their bets. Barnaby Lowe visited a cockfighting arena in Manila and spoke to different people who were willing to gamble it all, despite the uncertainty of getting returns.
The night is young. The battle is on. The excitement palpable. And for cockfighting aficionados like Jonathan Lee, this is the culmination of months of hard work.
Pinaganda namin to, gigising kami ng madaling araw para pagalawin sila. Mga alas 3, gising na kami na. Pinakahig namin, sinasampi. Binibigyan namin siya ng tamang pagkain, ng masusustansyang pagkain. Lahat ng pahinga, nasa kanya lahat. Pagkatapos ng training na mahaba.
Hindi, para siya si Manny Pacquiao.
Oo.
Ikaw si Freddie Roach.
Kung anak mo, yung sanggol, yan ang ginagawa. Binibaby yan.
This child is a 3-year-old sweater, today one of the most popular and competitive breeds. worth $300.
Cockfights are held every single day in this arena, but tonight is one of those big nights, so to speak. What we are going to be witnessing is a derby. The fighting cocks are some of the best, there's more money involved, so the stakes are definitely higher.
Tonight's big prize, $2,500. And like a nervous parent sending his teenager off to college, Jonathan anxiously waits for their turn in the ring. Pair after pair, these feathered gladiators are pitted against each other. One falls, the other holds his head high in triumph. In this sport, more often than not, only the victor survives. Could one of Jonathan's prized fighters be tonight's champion?
Sa tingin ko itong huli, medyo lamang kami sa panalo dahil siguro na popokus na namin ng maganda-ganda yung pagkalaga.
However, Jonathan says it is very much still a game of chance. So just how much luck is there in this arena? Probably not enough for the thousands who turn up here day in and day out.
Cockfighting, or what is locally known as sabong, isn't only legal here in the Philippines, it is a national obsession. Bets can go up to hundreds of thousands of pesos, while these spectators just outside the main arena often gamble on what little they have in their pockets.
Ngayong araw na ito, yan ang dala nyo?
Opo, 100. Sandaan po.
Less than the equivalent of $3 US. That was all 56-year-old Domingo Jerusalem had when we met him and his partner Lolita Eugenias on one of the many days they visit their local arena. But Domingo was willing to gamble it all.
So yung $100 nyo, pwedeng maging?
2,000.
2,000? Pero pwede rin?
Matalo.
Pwede mo ubos?
Opo.
Ano mas madalas? Manalo o ubos?
Ubos.
Lolita earns around $40 US a month doing laundry. Domingo used to be a car mechanic and worked part-time at the local cockpit as well. But after suffering a stroke a few years ago, his only source of income has been, well, the occasional winnings in sabong.
Kasi yung ibang mga asawang babae, galit
sa sabong.
Galit pag galing sa sabong yun. Kayo,
Ako tuwag-tuwa. Nag-alaga nga akong manok eh. Nung may alaga ko dyan, 4. Dati nanalo yung 3. Ako nag-aalaga nun.
ay ba kayo ha? Bakit? Ano nagustuhan niyo sa sabong?
Masaya kayo pag nananalo. Pag talo, yun lang. Ngayon, bihira na lang kasi isa na lang manok namin. Ngayon nga, dapat panlaban namin yung manok. Eh, walang pera pa. Di pa may lalaban.
Most days of the week, the couple goes to the local cockpit, with Lolita assisting a partially disabled Domingo. Domingo bets, Lolita watches.
Mas gugustuhin nyo igastos yung pera dun sa sabong kaysa sa ibili ng gamot.
Tama yun.
Kayo, anong pananaw nyo doon?
Okay lang sa kanya kasi libangan niya eh. Ayaw naman niya uminom ng gamot. Okay lang. Basta may pera lang, sabi ko sa kanya. Pag may pera lang, wala, huwag kang umalis.
Many like Lolita and Domingo use sabong as a way of getting more money, like a part-time job. Lolita is a rare case, because for the most part, sabong remains a man's world.
If I have no job, if I have no other source of income, or if there's a waiting period in the farm and I have no cash, sabong becomes an excellent way to earn money and enhance your status in the community as a male, as something privileged, as somebody with prestige, as somebody strong, as somebody who trains the roosters well. So there's a lot of cultural, symbolic elements in the cockfight.
42-year-old Frederick Santos, or Eric, used to be just like Domingo.
Minsan, nangihinayang ako pag uwi ko, ba't wala akong pera? Binigyan na ako, ba't wala akong pera? Ngayon, uwi ako, pag humingi anak ko ng pera sa akin, wala akong may bibigay. Masakit sa kalooban ng bilang ama yun. Hihingi anak mo, wala akong may bigay na pera.
So while Eric could no longer leave the world of sabong, he eventually made a decision to make money off it. He became a Cristo.
Ang Kristo, kung ang trabaho ay tagapusta ng mga mananaya. Ang Kristo, katulad ng, for example, may isang financer na gustong tumaya doon sa isang manok, ako ang magbibet noon. Kung tawagin si Kristo, kasi di ba nakapako si Kristo, kasi kami tatawag, ganoon.
How much a Cristo earns depends on how much his clients take home.
So, mabilis ang pera sa pagkikristo?
Mabilis. Mabilis din maubos ang pera.
Oh.
Pag binigyan ka na ng amo mo, umuwi na. Pag gusto mo lumaki ang pera mo, pupusta mo yun. Eh, pag natalo, wala rin ang pera mo.
In the grander scheme of sabong, Eric plays a small part. There are breeders, trainers, handlers, gappers, and companies that produce the cock's feed. It is a whole industry on its own. And it takes place everywhere, from neighborhood backyards, which are considered illegal, to sanctioned arenas that can seat thousands, like this one, operated and managed by the family of the city's mayor. But if you want a seat inside, you must be able to afford the entrance fee, plus the minimum bet, which often starts at around $50 on non-derby days. Those who can't, like Domingo, bet on the sidelines.
So the gambling laws of cockfighting favor the wealthy over the less wealthy. The class relations that appear in the gambling also appear in everyday life. So there are parallels. The machismo code, which we see in everyday culture, is also reflected in the cockfighting.
And inasmuch as it is a blood sport, calls from local animal rights activists to put an end to sabong have fallen on deaf ears.
How can you justify something that involves death of innocent beings, of animals who are not really going to kill each other unless humans provoked it?
It will never pass because you have wealthy people controlling it. You know, it's very difficult to get through that. The anti-cruelty movement in the Philippines is not as strong compared to the other countries. And as long as that's not strong, I think you will have cockfighting still a very active and a kind of legal sport.
Back in the ring on Derby night, after 5 excruciating hours in a first-round loss, Jonathan watches eagerly as his prized contender enters the pit. The opponent is a last-minute substitute. His fighter is the clear front-runner. The fight lasts for just a couple of minutes as Jonathan watches his fighter suffer one blow after another, barely able to fight back. Months of hard work and hard-earned money go down the drain. In this sport, there can only be one victor, and tonight it isn't Jonathan and his fighters. For Simon Asia, I'm Barnabilo in Manila.
Cockfighting may be illegal in other countries, but aficionados say it is so deeply ingrained in Filipino culture that seeing it die is close to impossible. You can learn more about this and all the stories on today's program on our website, www.assignment-asia.com. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. I'm Daniel Khan. Thanks for watching and join us again on Assignment Asia. Share your thoughts and contribute story ideas for future shows by contacting us on social media.